The flames roared like a beast awakened, its hunger insatiable, devouring everything in sight. Smoke coiled into the sky like a dark spirit, blotting out the stars. Sirens screamed through the night, a desperate wail echoing through the narrow streets of the old town. And at the center of it all, standing before the inferno with sweat on his brow and grit in his soul, was firefighter Jake Nolan. Jake had seen fires before. He'd fought them tooth and nail for 12 long years. But nothing had prepared him for this one. The old brick building on Maple and 7th wasn't just another fire call. It was a local landmark, a century-old bakery and residence owned by the Patel family, beloved members of the community. And now, flames were licking its windows, threatening to erase generations of memories in minutes. As Jake suited up and tightened his mask, his captain's voice crackled over the radio. "Jake, we've got confirmation, there are still people inside. Second floor, possibly the rear bedroom. Get in and get out. We don't have long." Without hesitation, Jake charged into the building. The heat was suffocating. Walls groaned, and glass shattered around him like war drums marking the collapse. He pushed forward, his flashlight slicing through the smoke. At the top of the stairs, he found them, a young woman cradling a child, both coughing, eyes wide with fear. "Come on. I've got you," Jake shouted, his voice muffled behind his respirator. He wrapped the child in his coat, took the woman's hand, and led them back through the inferno. Just as they reached the stairs, the ceiling above groaned and gave way. Jake shoved the woman forward, shielding the child with his body as burning timber rained down. Pain tore through him, but he didn't stop. When he finally stumbled out, barely conscious, flames dancing at his heels, the entire block erupted in cheers. The mother clutched her child and fell to her knees, sobbing, as Jake collapsed beside them. The last thing he remembered before the world went dark was her whisper, "You saved us, you saved us." 3 weeks passed. Jake was back at the station, his shoulder wrapped, his movements slower, but his heart steady. The fire had left him with burns and fractured ribs, but he was healing. He never expected anything in return. Saving lives was his job, it was what he'd sworn to do. But on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, everything changed. "Hey, Jake," one of the rookies called. "You've got visitors." Jake looked up from his coffee. Standing in the doorway were the Patel family, Mr. and Mrs. Patel, their daughter Asha, and little Ravi, the boy Jake had carried out of the flames. They were dressed neatly, nervously, holding a wrapped box and an envelope. "We hope this isn't a bad time," Mr. Patel said, his voice warm but uncertain. "We wanted to thank you, properly." Jake stood, a bit embarrassed. "You already thanked me. I'm just glad everyone's okay." But Mrs. Patel shook her head, eyes glistening. "No. What you did, what you risked, it was more than your job. You gave us our family. Our home may be gone, but you saved what matters most." Asha stepped forward, holding out the box. "Please, open it." Inside was a hand-carved wooden plaque. Inlaid with gold lettering, it read, "To the men who ran into fire for strangers. You will always have a home with us." Jake swallowed hard. His throat tightened. But there was more. "We've started a fund," Mr. Patel explained. "With help from the community. Enough to rebuild the bakery, and we want you to be part of it. We're naming the new space Nolan's Hearth. A place for food, family, and heroes. Free meals for first responders. Always." Jake's hand trembled as he held the plaque. He looked at them, at Asha's tearful smile, at little Ravi's wide-eyed admiration, and felt something shift inside him. For years, he'd faced death without blinking. But now, standing in front of the very people he saved, gratitude washing over him like a tide, he felt something deeper. He felt seen. Months passed. The new building rose slowly but surely from the ashes. On opening day, the entire town gathered, firefighters, friends, and strangers alike. Jake cut the ribbon with Asha and Ravi at his side. The smell of fresh bread filled the air, laughter echoed off the new walls, and for the first time in a long time, Jake felt like more than a man in a uniform. He felt like a part of something lasting. That night, as the sun dipped below the horizon and the lights from Nolan's Hearth spilled onto the street, Jake stood at the counter, coffee in hand, watching the community come alive again. Sometimes, heroes walk back into the fire because it's their duty. And sometimes, they come back out to find they've been given something far greater than recognition. They find family. They find purpose. They find home.